Good evening, all my good people out there in Raider Nation land. Man, tough week last week. I mean, I was kind of frustrated myself, but I'm sure that my brother Jim, he was kind of frustrated himself. But, hey, we're back here. It's 6:30. It's Friday night. And when we're together, we are the NGSC Blackhole Brigade. And instead of fighting that West Coast bias like I do with Josh Matson every Wednesday night, we're here to fight that Raider Nation bias because that's a situation that's very, very close and near and dear to my heart. And with the Raiders being 4-5, they got themselves a big win, a big game coming up at Detroit this week. And what Jim and I are going to do, we're going to walk you through that and let you know what needs to be done for the Raiders to win that football game. But I guess before we go any further, I'll introduce myself properly. I am Jerome Butler, a.k.a. Raider Rome, a.k.a. my little brother's big brother, a.k.a. King of Raider Nation. And like I said, fighting that Raider Nation bias is never a one-man operation. So I do present to you the one man that I do trust in this Raider Nation operation. My co-host with the most, my brother of another color, my main man, Jim Paskowitz. What's good over there, Jim?
Hey, how you doing this week, Jerome?
Well, I was a little frustrated until about Tuesday or Wednesday, but I'm over it. I'm ready to kick some Detroit ass myself. How's things going on your end?
Yeah, that about describes it here. Usually about Monday or Tuesday, I start looking for the positives in games, and there were a couple.
Yeah, I mean, namely the game Mario Edwards Jr. played. Man, 11 tackles and 1 sack. I mean, this guy's going to be a fixture on our defense for years to come, and it's good to see him finally start to have that breakout game. Maybe things will start to get easier for him as the season goes on now.
Exactly. He's been one we've been looking for pretty much all season, and he definitely showed on Sunday. I remember an early interview with him where he said the speed of the game surprised him, but it looks like he caught up with it.
Oh, yeah, he's caught up big time, and right at the perfect time, too. I mean, Alden Smith has now been suspended for a year, so we're definitely going to need him to step up. We're going to need our younger players such as Vincent Mayoa to step up also. And Khalil Mack, while he is our best defender, I do expect more from him now going forward. Because, I mean, he has to make this defense his own, especially going up against an offense like Detroit. Sure, they haven't scored a lot this season, but they still have the potential to break out any time with Matthew Stafford and Megatron.
Yeah, I've actually caught probably about 3 or 4 Detroit games this year, and they still have the tools. They still have Stafford, and Calvin Johnson's a threat anytime, anywhere. From anywhere on the field. Stafford's playing scared to me. He's playing like a guy that has no faith in his offensive line. Not that I can blame him on that one. But they are still a dangerous team. Every team is dangerous. Every team.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, man. And I'm really looking forward to the fact that, I mean, we got Nate Allen back and TJ Carey. They're back in their natural positions for another week. So, I mean, maybe last week was just a thing of them getting reacclimated to what they like to do, and this week everything will be fine. I mean, Woodson can slide back over and hopefully protect that shoulder a little bit more.
Yeah. The Minnesota game was pretty strange, I thought, because I don't know, the Raiders were pretty badly outplayed in the first quarter. Really the first half. And to me, the key was, I think it was Kyle Rudolph dropping that touchdown pass.
That was pretty wild there.
He was so open. I could have caught that pass.
Yeah, I think I could have caught it too. I mean, probably with my eyes closed. I mean, I'm sure Kyle Rudolph is really kicking himself over dropping that.
I mean, it took me back to my high school days, guys being that open. Usually when I was covering them, but
hey, well, when it was time for you to make a tackle, Jim, at least you held on, right?
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it boils down to. And this has been a recurring theme for the Raiders this season. When they don't get off the fast start, they tend to struggle in football games. I mean, they jumped out quick 10-0 on Baltimore. They jumped out 17-3 at Cleveland. They jumped out 37-6 against San Diego, 21-3 against the Jets. The last couple of weeks, they haven't been able to get off to that fast start. And it just pretty much kind of throws a wrench into everything they like to do. And I think it affects Derek Carr a bit, and that's why the Raiders seem to struggle when they don't get off to those fast, high-flying starts.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. And usually it culminates with the defense, too, because, when the opposing offense goes right down the field and scores, then that puts much more pressure on Carr. And I don't know, I guess he thinks he feels the pressure and has to go right back down and score. But you're right. I mean, when they don't get out to that fast start, that's when they struggle.
And most definitely. I mean, so hopefully at Detroit this week, they come out, they just get off to a fast start. But Minnesota, I mean, they're a team. They're out there. They're proving that they're for real. So, I mean, you can't be too upset. We're still a young team and learning. That's the thing that upsets me about the national media. I mean, the Raiders lose a game like this, and now people are saying, "No, same old Raiders." What were you expecting from the Raiders to begin with? I mean, they're just a young 4 and 5 football team trying to get better. I mean, I'll take anything they do from here on out as a bonus. If they make the playoffs, great. If you don't, that's great too. Just show progress, and that's what they're doing. So I have no problem with what's going on right now. Trust the process.
Yeah, that's a trap I think fans fall into a lot when the national media jumps on you and all of a sudden you're favored, and people expect you to win the games. Minnesota was 6-2 coming in. They're definitely no fluke. We saw that. They still have Adrian Peterson. He's still one of the top backs in football. Teddy Bridgewater showed me he was at least a quarterback who was able to take care of the ball and not make that big mistake. So it's not like, Minnesota's some sort of slouch. They don't have, other than Peterson, they don't have any big names yet, either offensively or defensively, but they're still a really good team. I was very impressed with them.
For the most part, though, the Raiders, they actually did a good job on Peterson early. It's just in the second half when the Raiders couldn't get a single first down until that last drive or caught through the interception in the end zone. I mean, they just got tired, and Peterson took advantage and just ran over him for that 80-yard touchdown run. It just pretty much changed everything. And to me also, it kind of seemed like Derek Carr and the wide receivers weren't on much of a page either. Sure, he hit the bomb to Andre Holmes and the bomb to Amari Cooper, but other than that, it was really dink and dunk all game. Crab couldn't even get free like he normally does.
Yeah, there weren't any big plays last week, and that's been kind of a trademark of the Raiders this year. Has been the big play. Either they managed to hit 1 or 2 to Cooper or Crabtree, and it just didn't seem like it was there. The Minnesota defense very quietly did a fantastic job, I thought.
Yeah, they did great. They were all over Carr. I mean, Latavius Murray really had nowhere to run most of the game. I mean, we hit the touchdown pass to Walford, but other than that, our tight ends were pretty much non-existent like they normally are. It was hard for Crabtree to figure out anything. And the defense, they just finally caved in. I mean, you can't really blame them. The offense left them out to dry in the entire second half.
Yeah, Murray had a very quiet day. He had 48 yards on 12 carries, but it was it was a very quiet 48 yards. I don't know why it was only 12 carries. Well, I guess because Minnesota jumped out front early. In that first quarter, it was basically 10-0 before you sat down. But 12 carries for Latavius Murray isn't going to do it.
Well, I did notice that they were featuring Olawale quite a bit also. So maybe they're like trying to use a power game along with Latavius' power to beat up defenses. And I actually kind of like that. Olawale seems like he's got a little bit of a bounce to his step, and maybe that'll help beat up the Detroit line a little bit Sunday. So that little package for him, I kind of like it, if he can keep getting 4 or 5 yards out of it.
Yeah. He had 24 yards on 5 carries. That's a productive day for your backup. He actually also had 3 catches for 35, so that's also an added bonus, if you will. But
yeah, they seem to have found something with that guy.
There just wasn't that big play, and I can't take anything away from Minnesota. They did a fantastic job.
Yeah, it was just never that. Yeah, they just pretty much, they never allowed that play, that 40, 50-yarder that just really got the Raiders going.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Oakland took the 14-13 lead after the touchdown pass to Andre Holmes, I mean, you got Cordell Patterson running back the kickoff. And I think that pretty much took the wind out of their sails for the rest of the game. Because you're up 14-13, there's 2 minutes left in the first half. You think you're about to probably go in the half and come out and probably put Minnesota in a really, really tough spot, but they get the kickoff return, and they kind of really changed things on my end. What did you think of that?
Yeah, the kickoff return was huge because it did look like, less than two minutes to go in the half. You think, okay, Minnesota's going to get the ball back. Depending on what happens, they've got to go down the field and score. And they can't run the ball, so they got to throw. And when Bridgewater drops back, who knows what can happen? And boom, all that's erased. And I've been very complimentary of the special teams this year. It's been a huge surprise how good they've been, but boy, that one play, they definitely were not. And,
yeah, but I think they were thrown off by probably how the ball bounced to Patterson. It kind of got everybody out of their lanes. All you had to do was make one move and go.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I thought when the ball bounced. Like, okay, stay in your lane, because I still remember that from high school football, stay in your lane. And boom, he went right up the sideline. Yeah. That I agree with you 100% on that. That completely changed the game.
Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with another young dynamic kickoff returner this week in Amir Abdullah. So hopefully Jano, there's no wind at Ford Field this week, so just blast the ball to the uprights, make him start at the 20 every time, I say.
Yeah. And he definitely has that capability, so why give him the chance?
Yeah, exactly. Man, this is our first trip to Detroit in about 12 years. Don't get to go there very often.
It has been a while. It's definitely been a while.
Yeah, and the good thing is you get to go in November right before Thanksgiving, and you know Detroit's got that national game. So hopefully they'll be really looking forward to their showdown with Philadelphia more so, because that's the national game. And the Raiders, they can come out, get off to a fast start, establish Latavius Murray against a run defense who really doesn't scare very many people. Then you get Crabtree and you get Cooper going. I'd really like to see something like that. But one more thing from this Oakland-Minnesota game. I mean, Derek Carr, man, he's got to really minimize those turnovers. And this game showed us really how much Rodney Hudson means to that offense. He's out. Everything just seemed completely out of whack.
Yeah, he to me, that was the biggest part of Sunday's game, was they just, there was no, it didn't seem like there was any sort of continuity. I mean, you said it yourself. I mean, there was a huge gap in the middle of the game where the offense just couldn't do anything. And it just seemed like it was much more of a struggle. And Hudson has been, I kind of feel good because Hudson's been, to me, he's always been the key. He was the key off-season signing. And obviously they missed him badly. And I checked the injury report. He's still questionable for Sunday, but they're saying he may actually play.
Well, if he plays, I mean, that really helps us big time there. I really don't want to go into another football game without Hudson behind center. Bergstrom played adequately, but, I mean, we got a guy that's an all-pro. He's a monster back there. And if we can get him going, hey, let's go ahead and roll with Big Hudson.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was pretty much our look at the Oakland-Minnesota game here. Now I guess we will start to get more in-depth into this Oakland-Detroit game. So pretty much when the Raiders have the ball against this Detroit defense, who has been pretty much depleted by free agency defections and just pretty much bad play, and their defense actually doesn't have Josh Wilson either, so this should be good news for Crabtree or Cooper, whoever is lining up against the other side of the corners. What would you say the Raiders should do to just pretty much get themselves going early?
Well, as always, Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray. Establish the run. Get it going. And I hate to say things like this because it's not as easy as it looks, but got to get that fast start going. We definitely have to get the offense down the field quickly, because it does seem to be that pattern that when they start slowly, everything else falls behind. So I think scoring first, scoring early, and getting Murray going, definitely the key to the offense.
Well, those are some pretty good keys there, Jim. You forgot one thing. You said score first, score early, but you also got to score often. I mean, we are right there as far as scoring points. We're in the top 10 in offense in the NFL. So just keep scoring, and really put Detroit in a bad place where they have to start forcing the football down the field. And my other concern is defensive line. Don't start feeling all sad and feeling pity for yourself because you don't have Alden Smith anymore. There's still a lot of talent out there on that line. You got young Mario Edwards. You got Vincent Mayo. You got Dan Williams. You got the big man Khalil Mack. Let Mack go out there and get after Stafford, set the tone early. Let Woodson and Allen go ahead and do what they do. And I'm perfectly fine with T.J. Carey out there. T.J. Hayden, though, versus Calvin Johnson scares me. I know Megatron going to get what he get. So if we can slow that down, establish the run, we'll be right where we need to be. I've learned my lesson, though, about making predictions, so I'm not going to do that. But I will say, if the Raiders can do all these things, they'll be looking good in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, like I said, I've caught 3 or 4 Detroit games this year. And I hate to do this because I love the Lions, and there's nothing better I would like than to see them be a quality team again. But there's not much they do on either side of the ball that's going to scare anybody. A couple years ago, I would have said Matthew Stafford was one of the best young quarterbacks in football. Right now, he looks like a man who's playing afraid. And with his offensive line in front of him, he has a lot to be afraid of. They don't have still, after all these years, they do not have a solid running game. It looked for a while like the kid they got in the draft, Abdullah.
Yeah, Amir Abdullah.
It looked for a while like he was going to be it, but he's fallen off. The only thing they really have is Calvin Johnson. And I not to take Calvin Johnson lightly because he's a threat from anywhere. But unfortunately, there's not much they do that would really scare me other than Calvin Johnson. And saying that, DJ Hayden on Calvin Johnson's kind of scary enough.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I can't really hate on that too much. I mean, yeah, DJ Hayden, this guy, he's really got to start to figure out things. Although he did a halfway decent job last week on Stephon Diggs. I mean, he got the 37-yard catch. That was about it. I think what happens with Hayden is when he has to be that lead guy, he seems to struggle a bit. But now having T.J. Carey on the other side of him and having Charles Woodson being able to shade him, because you got Nate Allen over there helping Carey, I think Hayden will start to play a little bit better as the second half of the season goes on. Probably not Sunday, though, but the rest of the way.
Yeah. Hopefully, like you said, with Carey on the other side, 2 quality safeties now back there helping can only make him better. So we'll see. Calvin Johnson's going to be a huge test.
Yeah, no doubt. But, I mean, Hayden's kind of a big corner in his own right, too. So if he can turn his head, he just might be all right. But if he doesn't turn his head, I think you may see about another Antonio Brown-type performance where Stafford only has one matchup he can win, and he just goes to it over and over and over.
Well, hopefully at that point the Raiders will make an adjustment. But, there's just the Lions they're 28th in the league offensively and 31st in the league defensively. I mean, this is a team that's struggling. After last year, looking like they could turn the corner. I really hesitate to say anything looks like an easy win, but,
Yeah, I'd have a problem calling this an easy win myself, Jim. I think the Raiders, right now, they are a better team than Detroit, and if they play the way that they should win this football game. But that's the thing that scares me. I mean, outside of the when have the Raiders consistently played like a team that's better than the team that they should be? I mean, sure, you were better than Denver for 60 minutes, you lost to them. You were better than Chicago, you lost to them. I mean, come on. If you're a better team, you got to come out there and you got to put the screws to these guys for 4 quarters. And being a young team, I'm sure that we're going to struggle with getting that together this season. But in the future, I would like to see more forceful performances, and they could go a long way towards getting that done this week with a big-time win at Detroit by at least 10 points.
Well, I'd love to see us come right out and establish the run. I think we can do that. They are Detroit. What are they? They're 32nd. No, they're 28th against the run. So this is a team we should be able to run the ball on. It looked, like I said, a couple years ago like they may be turning the corner, but you're right. Their defense was hit hard by free agency, and they just haven't replaced it. Replaced what they've lost. So this is a team we should be able to run on. So that's what I look.
Yeah, I got you there, Jim. I know this doesn't have much to do with the game Sunday, but here's a pretty interesting stat here. Detroit has beaten the Raiders the last 3 times they played, so Sunday would also be kind of high time to go ahead and end that streak. I'm sick of losing to these guys, and they've beaten us with worse teams than the team that they have now, so it's like, what the hell? Come on, let's go.
And plus, I mean, this is a team that's coming off of a huge win against Green Bay. So they're as hot as they've been all season long. So they're nobody we can take lightly.
Yeah, that's another thing to think about. I mean, they just won in a place that they haven't won a football game at in the last 24 years, and you see how much they had to deal with to actually get that win. So hopefully, I'm gonna go ahead and use a term here that probably isn't wise for the family network and all that. I think Detroit's probably blown their wad after winning at Green Bay. So hopefully they'll have nothing left in the tank for this game Sunday.
Well, we can hope they don't.
Yeah, that'd be nice there.
It would be great to get back to 500.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Get to 500 and actually stay relevant in this AFC race at least a few more weeks. I mean, like we said last week, we don't try to think too far ahead, but if the Raiders can get this, I mean, the next 2 games is right there for them. You get those, you get the 7-5 with a big game against Denver coming up, and Denver, they're struggling big time. I think if they lose to Chicago, they're definitely going to probably catch a beat down from New England. The Raiders handle their business. The game on December 13th just could mean something.
Yeah, Denver's suddenly looking human. Kansas City's looking like the best team in the division right now. That could change. Everything.
Oh, that definitely could change.
Even at 4-5, everything is still up in the air.
The good thing about this is, Jim, the ball is still in our court. Kansas City's playing great football right now. I won't take nothing away from that. But we get to play Kansas City twice the last month of the season. So we can handle them 2 football games. Hey, nobody can say we didn't go handle our business. So it's pretty much going to come down to how do the Raiders want the season to end? You got 7 games left. It's on you. How's it going to end?
Yep. Let's take control out of the hands of other teams and put it in the Raiders.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's been a long time since we've been able to actually talk about controlling your own destiny and Raiders in the same sentence. But, hey, we get a couple wins here, it'll be right where it needs to be.
Yeah, and this is a good game to get started on.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we get this win, I would most definitely have myself a happy Thanksgiving, eating my turkey and thinking about the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. And, there are 2 road games, but still they're games we can win.
Yeah, exactly. You got to win in November to make December matter. That's what I was always told.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was pretty much our look at Oakland versus Detroit here. And let's see here. On this day in Raider history, back in 2005, the Raiders, they actually got the last win for Norv Turner as the head coach of the Raiders when they went cross-country to D.C. and knocked off the Washington Redskins 16-13. I was thinking about that earlier because, I mean, there's a dude, and I think there's a guy that I really, really can't stand personally, and he's a Redskins fan. So I was happy to see that the Raiders actually did defeat them on November 20th, 2005. So we can use that as part of this day in Raider history. Jerry Porter had about a 50-yard touchdown catch that game. And then the Raiders, they actually had a chance to go up 7 late. Zach Crockett drops the touchdown pass to put them ahead 7. They kicked the field goal, however, and then at the end of the game, Derek Burgess gets a couple of sacks at the end to pretty much put the game away. And the Raiders, they get the win 16-13. Although, sadly, after that, they did embark on a 6-game losing streak to end the season. So that was
well,
you remember that game, Jim?
Sorry about that?
I say, you remember anything about that Raider-Redskin game from 05?
I do remember that game. And like you said, it was the last win for Norv Turner. If there's a coach I absolutely cannot stand, it would have been Norv Turner. No one takes a team with 14-2 talent and takes it to 8-8 quite like Norv Turner did. But
yeah, because I believe that 05 Raider team, they could have won at least 7 or 8 games that year, and his horrible coaching probably got them to 4-12.
Yeah, they did win in Tennessee that year. I remember that's the game I went to. So
yeah, it was pretty interesting. That was the game that you told the story about a couple of weeks back, where you were in the stands and everybody thought they were chanting Raiders.
Yep, and the entire stadium turned into Raider heaven.
Raider Nation South, huh?
Because Titans fans did what they always do, which is leave at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And Sunday in Raider history, back in 2009, the Jamarcus Russell era, you can kind of say, ended on this day here, because Bruce Grakowski got his first start as the Raider quarterback. He threw himself a couple of touchdown passes, one to Lewis Murphy with about 25 seconds left to tie the game up at 17. Then the Raiders recover a fumble, and they kick a field goal. They get the win 20-17 after trailing most of that game. And to that point, Cincinnati still had won a football game in Oakland, and they were actually a playoff team that year. And Grakowski, he came out there and he showed that magic that we thought he'd have until we actually picked up Jason Campbell. And the thing that I remember the most, though, from that 09 season is, yeah, we went 5-11, but 4 of them 5 wins were against teams who actually made the playoffs that season, and the other win was against the defending champion Steelers, even though they missed the playoffs. So it kind of was the springboard to that 8-8 season of 2010.
I remember that Pittsburgh game because all the Ravens fans around here were just in ecstasy that we'd actually beaten Pittsburgh. So it was a good week.
Yeah, it was a great week. I couldn't believe they beat Pittsburgh either. I mean, I couldn't believe they beat Cincinnati either. Because after losing Jamarcus Russell, you're like, where can we go from here? And Grakowski's like, have no fear, I got you covered.
Well, got to give it to him. He and Campbell, man, when they got their chances, they didn't do badly.
Yeah, I still kind of feel bad for Jason Campbell because he never did get the complete shot. I still think to this point he would have probably still been a Raiders quarterback had he stayed healthy.
He did a great job for us. I can never badmouth him. I can never say anything negative about him.
Yeah, exactly. Jason Campbell's always got love from the Raider Nation here.
Quick question before we go.
What's that? What's on your mind?
Aldon Smith. Years up. Do you bring him back?
Hell yeah, I'll bring him back. I mean, the guy, he caused no trouble here. I mean, he came out, he did his job every week. I mean, he's a great player, and I think this is just going to help him probably grow more as a man. So, I mean, he credits the Raiders for doing that for him, and he says when his suspension's up, he wants to be back. And we don't get too many people who actually want to be Raiders. So I say if Aldon Smith can do everything the NFL wants, yeah, you definitely bring him back on a 1-2 year show-me contract.
Yep. His problem, the suspension, and I've been telling people this all week, his problem came from before he was a Raider. While he was in Oakland, he did everything the Raiders asked him to do. He was a model teammate. I'd bring him back. To me, he's shown that he can at least get over his issues from the past. So hopefully this will be it for him, and I'd welcome him back in Raider Nation.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We love Aldon Smith. And before I go here, Jim, I mean, I got a little something that was on my mind regarding Aldon Smith. I probably said this Wednesday night when I was on the air with Josh, but I'll go ahead and say it again here. You got guys like Aldon Smith here. I mean, like Greg. You got guys like Greg Hardy. I mean, he's punching out his girlfriend and nonsense like this. He's hollering at coaches, acting just a complete damn fool, and nothing happens to him. Aldon Smith Sure, I knew you had to suspend him somewhat for the transgressions that he had as a 49er player. But 1 year, come on, you've been a little too excessive with this. Then you suspend Justin Blackman for God knows what, smoking a little weed. The NFL and Roger Goodell, I mean, this is really ridiculous, the selective enforcement that they impose on teams that are kind of like have-nots. Sure, I will say they did try to suspend Brady, but I don't think they tried hard enough. They could have found evidence that could have got Brady hemmed up for about the 3-4 games. I think that's why they just said leave it alone. But, yeah, there is no way Alden Smith should be sitting for a whole year. Suspend him 4 games if you want. This is just way too excessive. I think it's the fact that he plays for the Oakland Raiders that they felt they had to come down hard on him and drop the hammer. So I'm really tired of the NFL and their unfair selective punishment. What do you think?
Well, unfortunately, we knew it might be coming. I just didn't know when. But as far as suspending Brady goes, I wasn't for that because it's stuff that goes on the field. You know, it's rules transgressions. What we're talking about here is off-the-field stuff. And talking about suspending Tom Brady for 4 games and then, you know, you suspend Greg Hardy for 4 games, it just doesn't, to me, it doesn't add up. But we knew the Alden Smith suspension was coming somewhere down the line. We just didn't know when. Unfortunately, it happened too early. But at the same time, you know, God love him. I mean, he was perfect for the Raiders. He seemed to be right in there. He worked hard. His teammates loved him. Coaches praised him. So to me, that shows that he's maybe picked up on the idea that he's not Superman, and he only has so many chances. And I'm hoping they bring him back next year.
Yeah, I'm hoping they do also, because I do believe that Alden Smith can be an asset. I mean, if his head is screwed on straight, he could be a great mentor for guys such as Mario Edwards or Khalil Mack. So, yeah, I'd say bring him back, because, I mean, when Alden Smith is done with his suspension, he'll only be 26 years old anyway. So, I mean, he's still a fairly young player. Then you got him with your other young players. Hey, I mean, if you draft another pass rusher, I mean, you've got yourself a young pass rushing dynasty over there in Oakland. And I'd say Alden Smith will only make it better.
Exactly. I would love to see him come back. The Raiders used to be that team, you know, that team of last chances. So, you know, guys usually, John Madden always said, you know, guys knew that if you screwed up in Oakland, you were done. So,
yeah, and hopefully Alden Smith is starting to realize that himself. And this was a great show, though, tonight, Jim. I had a great time with you, man. We got a lot covered, and I really look forward to us doing it again next Friday night, rather.
Hopefully we'll do it after a Raider win in Detroit. So. Oh,
yeah, no doubt. We have ourselves a good story to tell here. So this was tonight's episode of the Blackhole Brigade with me and Jim. And Tuesday night, say you want to, you're up around 9 Eastern and you want to listen to some Patriot talk on the NGSC. I mean, I know I don't, but you might, though. You got Josh Matson over there with Shaq Krosky, and they're going to be doing their Patriot thing over there with the Flying Elvis Faithful. I mean, you'll like it. Those guys, they do the New England Patriots more justice than I could, would, or would even want to. They're good friends of mine. It's a good show. Check it out. I'm sure they'll have some good information from this Buffalo-New England game, and you'll really like to hear it. As for me and Josh Matson, we'll be on the air next Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Eastern for the NGSC West Recess. And we'll have along Shaq Krosky as a guest on our show next week, along with the Sandman. We were supposed to have P.D. Bronco in, but we'll see how that goes. And we will discuss the big New England-Denver game, and we'll go through everything else in the league like we always do and have ourselves fun while we do it. Because, I mean, you can't have a good show if you don't have fun. I mean, look at me and Jim. We have ourselves a hell of a time. But speaking of Jim and I, we'll be back here Friday night, as we said, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on the NGSC for the Blackhole Brigade. We'll be breaking down that game between the Raiders and the Lions. We'll be talking about how our holiday went. And we'll have a look ahead to the Raiders and Titans games going on. Our first look at Marcus Mariota. So I'm really looking forward to that one. So for Jim Paskowitz, I'm Jerome Butler, Raider Rome, my little brother's big brother. I'd like to say to all of you, to good night, and to all a good night, and go Raiders.